Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bunch of Nuts podcast. I'm Dan, here with Big Cass. That was a fun one, Cass. We were on edge a little bit, but the fourth quarter, the Buckeyes turned it around. It escaped Happy Valley. They didn't cover, but they were covering in the fourth quarter at one point. So I'll take it. What were your thoughts on the day?
I never thought 1 second that we were nervous that we were going to lose this game. I really didn't. But I did get nervous in the fourth quarter when we were losing, and then all of a sudden that fourth quarter explosion. I think I was more concerned with the play calling more than anything, like running bubble screens on 3rd and 6, knowing that how good Penn State's corners are. I think the play calling. I think Ryan Day is an offensive genius, and I just think that he was just trying too hard. Like he was just trying to get something that wasn't working. I think after the first quarter, if you find something that's not working, just go with your bread and butter. And that's Stroud, just letting Stroud be Stroud. And I thought CJ Stroud, this was outside of at the end of the first half and maybe a couple other throws. This was his best game of the season outside of despite only having one touchdown. I just thought this was his best game of the season, because the willingness of him running the football. There was a couple times where he pulled it and tucked it and run. Yeah, he didn't get the first down, but he also he helped Noah Ruggles get in field goal range for one of the field goals. And two, the other one, it helped Jesse Mirko get a little bit of more room so he could boot the ball. So it's the willingness that he did run. I mean, heck, one of the carries was 11 yards. He pulled it and tucked it for 11 yards. Yeah, it was short of the first down, but his willingness of the running the football. And I also, I'm sure you're going to touch base on this. JTT, JT Tuimoloau, what a stud. He, the stat line was unbelievable. And it was fun to watch him just completely take over a game. But I have to give Zach Harrison a lot of credit with that too, because he helped JTT. The way Zach Harrison has been playing all season has actually helped open up to show what JTT can actually do.
I mean, I would say too, I think we just need to give credit to Larry Johnson as a whole. That defensive line as a whole, I thought played pretty insane. Obviously, JTT, one of the greatest days you'll ever see from an Ohio State defensive lineman. Zach Harrison also finally making, getting the credit he deserves, because like we've been saying in previous shows, he's been all over the field making plays, hasn't seen it in the stat sheet, gets the pick. Also, though, Tyleik Williams coming in the third quarter, making those two big, stops in a row. I thought that was honestly kind of where the momentum started to shift. I thought, I call him Tylenol Williams. Take two tackles for loss as needed. Ohio State did. It alleviated symptoms. Voila. That was my punny joke for the day. And, they really stepped up. I thought, Cass, Tommy Eichenberg, had a pretty good day, but I wish he made that tackle.
He should have had 16, but he had 15 tackles.
I know. I thought he had a pretty good. I'll give him a B+, but that one tackle, if he made that tackle, he would have been he would have been a legend at Ohio State for that. But that's all right. And the DBs were kind of shaky as usual. McAllister, I was surprised he didn't make that tackle. And Burke, I thought was pretty good though. No complaints on Burke. So defensively, I was pretty. I couldn't be happier with the defense, honestly, when you look at it. Other than Parker Washington just eating our lunch at times. On the offensive side of the ball, I thought Travion in the beginning was a little lost. I thought it took him really, midway through the second half to get warmed up, and obviously he had the 2 touchdowns. There's something wrong with his vision, I think, though. Personally, it just doesn't make sense that Mayan is able to get more yards, and I feel like he has less room to run through at times, and Travion gets better holes, and he's always getting brought down. I don't know what's going on. They need to figure out his vision, because like I said, I think on Saturday Cadence, I think he's kind of regressed a little bit. So maybe this is a part where he turns it around. Stroud, I thought, played insane though. I mean, I agree, Cass. His biggest thing on the day was just those long, second and long, third and long throws to Marvin Harrison. He had so many of those. I mean, the chemistry between him and Harrison Jr. was so freaking good that Ohio State was, that was really that between the defense was the only two things that was really working in the game. And then I thought like Fleming played all right. Stover played very good, other than the bubble screen blocking, which is the play calling, I think. And then I guess we'll end with this. I thought the game would have probably been a bigger margin of victory if Mayan Williams didn't get hurt.
I completely agree. I know the rumors this week about Emeka Ibuka dropped one pass this week, and he spent each practice 2 hours over catching from a ball machine. I mean, that just tells you the mentality of Emeka Ibuka. I mean, I'm going to pose this question right now. I think it's actually not a question. I think it's a statement, kind of. I think Mayan Williams being hurt is more affecting us than Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I would agree. Currently, how this team has progressed this year, absolutely. And you gotta hope it's not going to be long term. I'm sure. I mean, I'd be surprised.
I heard he's in full pads all week.
I mean, I would be, just the way Ohio State has done things lately. I wouldn't be shocked if mine didn't play this week, just because one, it's Northwestern, two, like we have had a history of, Travion get a full workload and mine will be off. Mine will get a full workload. Travion will be off. So I think we could see mine off this week, even though he is in full pads.
I love the fact that Ryan Day has shut the media down with the injury reports now.
Yeah.
I think just Ryan Day is tired of hearing about the injury reports, because there's other guys that have stepped up. I mean, I think, like you said, going back to with the Jackson Smith and Jigba being out, who would have, we wouldn't have thought that. I mean, we wouldn't have thought the emergence of the way Julian Fleming's played. We knew Marv had that mind, like that physicality that he could break out like this, but I didn't think it would be like, I didn't think it'd be this quick.
We're thinner at running back too. The Evan Pryor injury, I think, is really what's causing all this.
Yeah, and Chip is now full-time running back, but
RB3.
I think that Cade Stover. If Cade Stover didn't have this production, I think we'd be really missing Jackson Smith and Jigba, but we don't, because the way I think Cade Stover has been the X factor in this whole offense, just because he's a threat. He's a threat downfield. I was reading this. He's the most productive tight end we've had since Ricky Dudley's, and that was in 1995.
You know what? And I this might be crazy to say. This might be a take, but I feel like he's a better route runner than Ruckert. He's way smoother when you watch him. The way he goes after the ball too and gets down, like he reminds me. His play style literally reminds me of a little Gronk. It like, especially with the brace, the way he like goes down for balls and like makes contested grabs. That's a little Gronk in my opinion.
Anybody should not. Gronk couldn't block on bubble screens because they can't get out there. You can't have your tight end blocking out there and to block on bubble screens. But that goes to the physicality. Do we miss Zach Smith and his physicality of his receivers? Because say what you want about way Brian Hartline coaches, at least Zach Smith's receivers block better than the receivers that Brian Hartline has produced.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. When you think about like, even like, so like obviously KJ Hill was a good blocker. Terry McLaurin, great blocker. Austin Mack. Like even Ben Victor wasn't a good blocker, but he threw like you could
Johnny
at least
Dixon was a good
throw in
blocker.
an effort. Yeah. I think there was a better effort from his guys. I don't. If that makes sense. I think
it makes sense.
Right now, I think the Heartline guys are more divas, like they're above blocking because they're so good at receiving.
But Fleming looks the part. Like he looks like an Evan Spencer out there, don't he?
Yeah, but he's a lot better than Evan Spencer this year. Like that man's gotten his flowers.
Yeah. So that's I mean. It is what it is. We come out with all up until LSU being ranked 10th, we were the only team in the country with a top 15 road victory. But now that Penn State's ranked 16th by the committee and LSU is 10th by the committee, which is that's a good segue. That's a good segue. College football rankings came out last night. Oh, well, Tuesday, whatever, whenever you're listening to this. Ugh.
It's just crazy that they put Tennessee 1. That's what kind of I know everyone can make the argument, oh, the top 3 could be anywhere, but
yeah, you're right.
But putting Tennessee at 1 is just that's not factual in my opinion.
I mean,
like you either have to put Georgia or Ohio State 1 there. You can't just be like, oh, because Tennessee beat Bama, they're 1. Well, like Bama didn't even win the national championship last year, and they proved that they're not maybe as good as they thought against Texas.
It's the eye test.
The eye, yeah. The eye. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Your eye, yeah. Watching, Tennessee win at home in Neyland and everyone rushed the field. It looks great on TV, but like that doesn't mean they're exciting. It was great pageantry. The same looked great. Doesn't mean they're the number 1 team. I think the committee got the top 6 completely wrong. I was kind of surprised by it.
I look at it this way. I've been telling people the top 3 you could have ranked 1, 2, or 3 anywhere.
It will sort itself out.
Yeah, it will. But
it just bothers me because I'm like,
it was
these people are going to be making decisions soon, like finalizing this, and if this is where their heads at, I'm like, I don't know if we're all on the same page.
I think 1, 2, 3 you could have ranked anywhere. Like you could have. It was 4 through the rest of the top 25 where I had a problem with. Like you had Penn State, who arguably has 2 of the best losses at 16, and then you have LSU, who got massacred at home by Tennessee and lost to Florida State. Like how, like you could say neutral site, but bullshit. It's not a neutral site because it was in freaking Louisiana. I mean, like I think what it is, Saturday night on ESPN, Alabama travels to Tuscaloosa. It's a way to say, oh, Alabama got that top 10 win. It's them basically saying Alabama's going to be a playoff team unless they lose another game, regardless.
I think my favorite thing about this is just how they put all the ACC teams in a row. They just put like 6-2 Syracuse, Wake Forest, and NC State, all 6-2. They put them at 20, 21, 22. I thought that was kind of
Wake
funny.
Forest
North Carolina's also 17. And I heard the theory, I heard the rumor, like, remember the year when North Carolina won their division and they played Clemson and they got robbed on the onside kick? There's a theory out there that North Carolina is going to run the table, play Clemson, and get revenge. And how funny would that be? Would you put them in is my question. I would. Why not? If there's a couple of teams with losses, I feel like you got to make the playoff then.
I think TCU is the one to watch out for. If TCU runs the table, they're going to be in.
What happens if Illinois runs the table? Like
you have to put them in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're going to have to think about it.
Michigan. They have to beat Michigan and Ohio State probably.
Yeah, if they beat Michigan, okay, the week before Michigan plays Ohio State, then Ohio State beats Michigan. They beat Ohio State. That's 2 top 5 wins.
Yeah, no, there'd be no denying them. None.
Which the chances of that happening, come on now, like, but it can happen.
It could. It'd be kind of funny in a horrific way. Tulane is, I guess, the Tulane UCF. UCF at 25, Tulane at 19.
Don't they play each other?
Yeah, no big group of 5 guys though, other than them.
So basically, it's going to be Tulane versus that third or fourth SEC team that gets in a New Year's Six Bowl.
Probably Tulane versus like LSU. Sugar Bowl. Tulane LSU Sugar Bowl in New Orleans.
Make it happen. New
Orleans would go
make
nuts.
It happen.
That is actually that could be on the table.
I don't think it's so. I don't think LSU will make it to a New Year's Six Bowl. I think it'll be like Ole Miss or something.
I feel like the state of Louisiana would have such a blast though if that happened. Think about it. LSU, Tulane.
No, hear me out. Tennessee loses to Georgia, right?
Mm.
Okay. So Tennessee loses to Georgia. Okay. Alabama loses to Georgia. That's their second loss. Tennessee, Georgia make the freaking playoffs. Alabama goes to the Sugar Bowl and plays Tulane. That would be the funniest thing I would ever see because Nick Saban would not want to play in that game.
How funny would it be if Tulane pulled off the upset?
Dude, Utah did. Look it up. Utah beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, no, it's just not their spot.
Actually,
I'm all for it.
They would actually probably put Tulane in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah. But back to the rankings, Cass. I mean, I'm fine with Ohio State coming in at number 2.
Because they're going to be number 2 next week.
Yeah, no matter what, we would not have been number 1 because they're gonna even if we were number 1, we would have gotten removed next week because the winner of a 2-3 matchup will jump to 1. It's just the math behind supporting us at number 1. With the upcoming games, there's no point because it's for rankings. You might as well do it the other way.
It's basically ratings. Solidifying Ohio State's number 2. Like Ohio State's could be number 2.
They're basically saying you're gonna they're basically saying you're a higher seed, but for like TV ratings, we're just gonna play around with these other teams. That's what I got the vibe.
Here's my theory. I think if Georgia beats Tennessee, okay, Georgia's going to the SEC championship game. Tennessee's going to be that one-loss team. If the problem, what's going to happen is, what happens if Georgia beats Tennessee? Georgia loses to Alabama. Are they really going to put 3 SEC teams and Ohio State in the Final Four?
See, that's where it gets hairy. That's where it gets stupid too.
Go Tennessee. I mean, now go TCU.
Yeah, I don't want that. That's a nightmare scenario.
I think Georgia's going to win this week.
I mean, usually, here's the thing: it always works itself out.
It does.
It always.
And I don't think the committee is going to, because we're going to. But I think this is what will happen. I think one of those one-loss SEC teams gets left out, and all of a sudden, the 12-team playoff starts next year. That's what's going to happen.
Tennessee fans are going to get left out, and then they're always going to be like, well, we would have won it in 2022 if we got in the playoff.
Yeah, because guess what? Those brown paper bags full of cash, those McDonald's bags, that's going to come back to bite them. It really is. It really is. Oh, can Hendon Hooker lose his Heisman this week though?
I don't know. It's Georgia's an 8-point favorite. It's at Georgia, but they're getting all the Tennessee fans. I don't know because Georgia just lost one of their best defenders. So I don't know how that defense is going to be. I still think Georgia's going to win. But I mean, I will say this: if Hendon Hooker goes in there and pulls off the win, he's gonna win the Heisman. If he loses, he could still win. But if he wins at Georgia, he would steal the Heisman in my opinion, just because they're already ranked 1.
Which sucks.
Media loves them.
It sucks so bad because the way CJ Stroud has played all season, that he's gonna lose the freaking Heisman Trophy because of some 25-year-old senior that's playing well. Oh, anyways, Northwestern. We traveled to Northwestern, who has not won a game on American soil this year. Yikes.
So if you watch the first week, like week 0 college football, everyone would have been like, wow, Northwestern's a good team. Everyone was probably like, and then they haven't won a game. So
They got beat by Iowa. Like an offensive resurgence of Iowa. It's so bad.
I mean, like, so they have they have only 10 they only have 10 passing touchdowns on the year. Helinski literally had the one, like what you saw Ryan Helinski against Nebraska. That was basically the bulk of his production. Evan Hull as well. He only has 500 yards on the year. And he has like 5 total touchdowns. And then there's like no one else. Their offense is pretty dreadful. They have like a couple. What's his name? Donnie Navarro. He's like a slot receiver. He's okay, but and then defensively, they only have 2 interceptions from D-backs the entire year. 5 interceptions total. They're not going to win the turnover battle. They're just not very good. In Ohio State's literally a 38-point favorite. There's no reason Ohio State shouldn't obliterate this team, in my opinion. That's my immediate thoughts.
They were down 23-0 to Iowa. Ugh. My wife and I are going to this game. We've been weather watching, and all Buckeye fans are freaking out because there might be a little rain and wind. Come on.
It's that.
Come
I mean
on.
that might be a blessing in disguise for us because it's gonna make us have to get up and play. Because if it was just a cold, sunny day in Evanston, we might be a little sleep at the wheel. If it's raining, I feel like that's gonna wake you up because at least you got rain hitting you constantly.
Yeah, I mean, same conditions last year against Indiana, and we completely obliterated them 54-7.
Exactly.
Like, but yeah, I can't wait. It'll be my first trip to Chicago. I mean, I think it's gonna be fun. I mean, my wife was so excited to get her Kate Stover shirt. She's gonna wear it Friday on the way up. She's super excited about that. Never seen my wife so excited in my life until Kate Stover scored that touchdown last week. I mean,
what a play!
I mean, I feel like if Kate Stover gave her the time of day, she'd probably leave me for him. Up to this point at this moment. But no, like it's gonna be a fun trip. I think we get to go up and hopefully watch the Buckeyes obliterate Northwestern. I have no keys to victory for this besides stay healthy. I mean, there isn't. I mean, can we see Kyle McCord throw the ball around, please?
I feel like my keys to victory is just impose your will. So like if it's 4th and 2, let's not punt. Just go for the damn thing. Get it. Like let's not overthink it, guys. And no bubble screens.
How about Jesse Marco doesn't punt until third team comes in?
Exactly.
I want to see after Stroud throws for 7 touchdowns in the first half. I want to see Kyle McCord come out and throw the ball around.
I want to see CJ Stroud have a Heisman play. Like not a moment, but a play, a highlight that you're like, wow, that's why he's a Heisman favorite.
I mean, he drops dimes to Marvin Harrison and all that.
Yeah, I want to see him throw such a ridiculous throw.
What if first play of the game, Ryan Day runs a read option and CJ Stroud houses it for 75 yards? Then people are like, oh, he'll run against Northwestern, but nobody else.
That might be it, though. First play, like an 80-yard touchdown, I'd be cool with it. He would have to do like a Heisman pose, though, if he does that.
I would love for him, like, just against Michigan, just Heisman pose. That would be sweet if he just ran for a touchdown and did the Heisman pose.
Yeah. I feel like he has to do. I feel like he needs a preemptive Heisman moment before Georgia-Tennessee play because they play at 3:30. We play at noon. Like I feel like he just needs to have a ridiculous play and do it.
Just throw 8 touchdown passes. I mean,
yeah.
Just throw 8, break the school record. I mean, just do it. Just do it. Like,
It's not that hard, bro.
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that
Don't
hard.
overthink it.
Don't.
4 verts every play.
Last night, did you watch ESPN for the thing?
What?
The show, the college football show last night.
Oh yeah, like the playoff show.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
how they had every college game day host, but Desmond Howard on there. Probably because they didn't want him to explain his Final Four. That's my guess.
That's dead. Other than Michigan, that's been long dead and gone. I don't think that survived week 2.
No.
That's crazy. Mine's still very. I like to say mine's very alive. I have Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Bama. Those are my Final Four. Not in that order. Just that's my Final Four still.
I think I had mine's still alive too. I think I had Clemson, Ohio State, USC, and Alabama. Yeah.
Yeah, the only one that doesn't look great is USC.
I mean, if they win out and run the table, I mean, it's hard pressed not to be able to put them in.
If their one loss is Utah at Utah, that's not a terrible loss. Actually.
Why? My thing is, why was the committee justifying for USC saying they have a marquee game against Notre Dame, but won't give Ohio State? Like, did you see that? Where they were talking about like the games and then saying that USC has a tough one coming up against Notre Dame, but didn't even mention Ohio State beating Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is not good.
I mean, to beat the brakes off of Syracuse.
Don't mean they're good.
It's true.
They're 5-3. They lost to Marshall.
If they beat Clemson, how good does that win for us look?
I just think I think that the loss would look worse for Clemson. I would rather have it just look worse for Clemson. It's I could just look Clemson fans in the eyes and be like, at least we beat Notre Dame. I don't know. I just like Drew Pine, I guess, has turned it around a little bit. 13 touchdowns, 4 picks. That's kind of surprising. I'm going through down their stats right now. Their offense looks like they put up some good production in recent weeks. I just like they should not have 3 losses though. Then that's the thing. And that's right. They're very underachieving. They might finish strong, but I don't know. Ohio State will never get the credit it deserves for that game, unfortunately, because they're going to say that it was a different team because they have different quarterback.
Right. So, all right. This is kind of a short episode. You ready to go into the pick'ems?
Yes, sir.
Yay. I even really looked at. We didn't. We don't need to touch base on the Michigan thing. That's just dumb. Dang, the Astros are up 5-0. Come on, all right. Phillies. Come on, Phillies.
All right.
Oh, Buckeye basketball last night. Shuma beat Chaminade 101-57.
We looked competent. Feeling good. I think I might go to the season opener in next week.
Robert Morris on Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, Monday at 7. I might go, but we're feeling good. We'll have to see what we do against Robert Morris. I want to see it live. We look good for a preseason exhibition. We put up 100, so that always feels great. I want to see how we actually play full game though. That counts. So I'm apprehensive but excited.
Yeah, and the girls open up with Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I think Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ready for some college basketball a little bit.
Me too. All right. What game do we want to start with, bud?
Oregon State, Washington. Washington's 4.5 point favorite. I like Oregon State. I'm gonna go with the Beavers.
Mm. Oh, Friday. That's why I couldn't find it. No, I'll take Washington here because that's gonna be tough place to play. Friday, 10:30 p.m. kickoff. Absolutely, Washington. That's a great one to watch, though.
Yeah, I'll watch it in a hotel in Chicago.
How about all right? Let's do. Mm,
You know what? I hate to cut you off, but
Go ahead.
big noon kickoff. Texas Tech, TCU. TCU's a 9.5-point favorite. I think TCU is going to feel disrespected, and I think they're going to lay it on the Red Raiders. Give me TCU at the minus 9.5.
I'll take Texas Tech plus here. I think this could be a letdown week for TCU, believe it or not. And I think Texas Tech is, coming on the road. I feel like they could be feisty. So I'll definitely take Texas Tech there. Oh my gosh, I'm just struggling. There's so many decent games. I'm gonna go with this one's a little later cast. It's gonna be Bama LSU. the road to the Sugar Bowl runs through this one. So
I like Bama to win, but I'm going to take LSU with the points because it's a rivalry game in Death Valley. Yeah, that's all I really got to say.
I will also take LSU with the points here.
I wouldn't be shocked if they beat Bama.
They have the loss early to Florida State, but they shouldn't have lost that too. When how they lost the extra point and all that, they really should only have one loss. I think they're decent. Brian Kelly, he's an absolute buffoon, and no one likes him, but he's a very good football coach. You gotta give the man credit. He's not personable or exciting or cool, but the man can coach some football. So yeah, I'll take LSU covering.
Texas at Kansas State. It's a pick 'em. It's Texas 2.5-point favorite. I'm going to call it a pick 'em because it's between a field goal. Kansas State came off and blew the doors off of Oklahoma State. They're at home. They're feeling good, but the Longhorns win.
I'm taking Kansas State. Everything I saw what I saw last week, this should be a top 10 team, but they have 2 losses. I feel like they're Kansas State at their best could be anyone in the nation, but they already have 2 losses. But Kansas State's very good, I think, especially when they get that run game going, Martinez and Deuce Vaughn, and they had obviously the Will Howard guy or whatever, their backup, school record 4 touchdown passes. They're special this year for Kansas State standards. So I'll take Kansas State, and it's at home.
Okay.
This one, South Bend, where Tigers go to die. 7:30, NBC. Clemson travels to Notre Dame. Clemson's a 3.5-point favorite.
Give me Clemson. Because they're feeling disrespected by a lot of people right now, because they feel like a lot of people are feeling like they are not deserving of that number 4 spot, including myself. But I think this is a game where they could, you know what? We're going to finally show up. So give me Clemson.
I'll take Notre Dame. Why not? Just to be different. It's at home, and I think Clemson are frauds, and Notre Dame's playing well. Let's roll the dice here.
Let's ride. So, okay. Are we going to do Michigan State, Illinois? Illinois is a 17.5-point favorite.
I'm going to take Michigan State just to cover.
Yeah, me too.
especially after the tunnel incident.
God, I hate Michigan fans are so oblivious.
So are they like trying to press charges or something against them? What
Yes.
pansies? They designed the tunnel. They literally designed this tunnel where it's like freaking Super Smash Bros. Melee. There's only one entrance. Like you have to meet the other team. How and it's like the third incident with Dontre Wilson, Penn State, like 2 weeks ago. They are repeat offenders. They cannot keep suckering teams into getting into these fights in this tunnel and then pointing the finger. It's ridiculous.
And the dude that got, I mean, I don't condone what Michigan State did, but the dude that got his butt whooped was skipping and taunting away from his team.
He was looking for it. You don't do that. You literally ran into the tunnel
and it's been since Harbaugh took over that it's been gotten this bad, and he keeps blaming other teams.
I just thought that was the most ridiculous. I agree, Cass, and I mean I think we have one more pick after this, but I just want to touch on the Michigan tunnel subject because it's just so ridiculous. Remember, I mean, someone has brought up too, like they have been coached to do this because they did it against us when they attacked Dontre Wilson. They did it in the pregame. You had obviously Curtis Grant talking on your, commented on your Facebook post about this stuff. He even said they're trained to do it. And then obviously, James Franklin points this all out a couple weeks ago. And everyone's like kind of turns a blind eye, like, oh, maybe it was a one-time thing. It literally happens.
Harbaugh kind of a whiner.
Yeah.
By the way, my tiebreaker game, I'm taking Oklahoma State to bounce back and beat Kansas. It's a pick 'em.
Okay. I think my game, my tiebreaker, because why not, Cass? Give me Arizona State to cover 11 at home against UCLA.
What is it? Plus 11?
Plus 11, Arizona State. I feel like that's just one where UCLA, they're looking too far ahead for some reason.
Oh, Christian Javier has a no-hitter right now for the Astros.
Who cares? Screw the Astros.
All right. Georgia, Tennessee. I already told you who I was picking, so.
I'm taking Georgia for sure.
So am I.
It's been a nice run, Tennessee.
Stroud needs his Heisman back.
Yeah, I'm so sick that I was a year off and a player wrong about Joe Milton for Heisman. I'm so mad about this. Like, what kills me the most is that Hendon Hooker, the guy who stole the Heisman from Joe Milton, is going to steal it from CJ Stroud. So, I'm not doing well about that.
Me neither. That's all I've got this week.
That's all I got too. So, as always, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Bunch of Nuts podcast. And as always, go Bucks.
Go Bucks.